Hello and welcome to the Birkbeck Futures Bite-Sized Career Series. My name's Lucy, I'm one of the employability consultants here at Birkbeck Futures, and in this session I'm going to be taking a look at career planning. So what is career planning? Well, what career planning is not is a one-off thing, putting together a plan, sticking it in a drawer and forgetting about it. It needs to be something that is done fairly regularly, is reviewed, is acted upon. And the Chartered Management Institute have defined it really nicely, that career planning is traditionally understood as the process of assessing personal strengths, values and aspirations, establishing goals and objectives, identifying the steps needed to achieve them, putting this information into a written career plan, which will then be periodically reviewed and updated. So it's not the case that you do your career planning, put it into a document and that stays the same forever. Your career plan is obviously very important, and it's a statement of where you are now, where you want to be at a certain defined point, and then the steps along the way, so looking at goal setting. But what you do need to do is you do need to put time and effort into it, and you do need to review it regularly for it to be effective. So why is it important? Why do we talk about career planning? Why is career planning a thing? I think first and foremost because your career is yours. It's not your employer's responsibility to help you progress your career outside of the organisation. For them, what's important is the value you add to their organisation whilst you're employed with them. So you really need to be proactive, and you do need to make and take responsibility for your own career. And if you are looking to progress in your career, make a career change, have better earnings, just sitting and waiting and hoping for something to happen, it doesn't tend to work out. You have to be proactive. You have to take steps in order to make this work. It can also help make sure that your career is going in the right direction. I think often we can go down a career path, we get quite comfortable to it, we get promoted, for example, but then something happens and we put our heads up and think, oh, hang on, that's not quite where I thought I would be. And by having a career plan and reflecting on it, you can identify each stage of your career where it is you want to be. And now that's not to say that your career plan, as I said, is going to be set in stone at all. It just means that it gives you those points where you can reflect and see whether you are on the right track. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. We think COVID-19, Brexit, the way that the world of work is changing, people are working more remotely, job roles that didn't exist 5 years ago are here, other jobs are becoming obsolete. So by having a career plan, it can help you to forward plan for things that may happen, for example, within your industry, and you can start to plan for that. It also helps you to have a career plan and any gaps in knowledge or experience that might potentially be holding you back in securing your ideal role. Because by reflecting back on your career and your experiences and your skills, you'll be able to identify what gaps there are and make changes or identify resources that can help you to build up that skill set. Does it apply to me? Absolutely, it applies to everybody, and it doesn't matter at what stage of your career you're at. If you're just graduated looking for your first graduate role, if you're a career changer, if you're looking for a promotion, having been established in your particular career for a number of years, a plan is going to help you to make sure that you're acting in line with your goals. And as I said before, it can absolutely help with those small changes. You know, it can help you to learn new skills and widen your knowledge, which is going to make you more successful in your career. And there's also the future-proofing element. So as I said before, the world of work is changing, there is uncertainty. So being able to understand what might be happening within your industry, what job roles might be changing, what opportunities they might be. You can build that into your career plan to ensure that you are weathering those changes. So I now want to talk a little bit about the process of career planning, starting at the beginning and then taking it all the way around. Now, the process is circular because it is something that you'll do many times within your career, and it'll always be that cyclical process which you review and reflect on a fairly regular basis. So if you're starting your career plan for the first time, the way to start is doing a deep dive. So looking at your current position, so really taking stock by reviewing and assessing your strengths, your personal attributes, your skills, interests, experience, reflecting on the things that you want and what you absolutely need, both in terms of your career and your lifestyle, because obviously these do go hand in hand. What is important for you? You know, what are your personal values? What motivates you within a role? And also thinking about what might hold you back. What are those constraints? This self-appraisal will give you a picture of where you are now. And there's lots of resources on the careers portal that can help you with this. There's a number of career-related assessments. So looking at things like your strengths, your values, your motivators, and you can find them under the grey navigation bar at the top of the portal. The next stage is then exploring your options. So this is very much your research phase. So having a look at those different career options, be that first job, be that something that you're thinking about taking a career change into, or thinking about what your options are for promotion, be that internally or externally. So this is where you will be doing your research, which there's an awful lot of company research on the careers portal, but you'll also be doing your informational interviews by reaching out to people, to having those coffees, finding out more about what people do in their roles, what advice they can give you, looking at industry websites, going to networking events, etc. So all of that to help you to identify what is going to be the right thing for you. Then you want to be thinking about and always reviewing those potential choices against your interests and your strengths, and consider the importance of factors like salary, company culture, working hours and commute time and things like that when you're doing your research, so that you can start identifying options which are going to be more relevant and right for you. Then you get onto the making choices bit, which is deciding on those best options based on the two stages you've just been through, and then assessing whether your choices are realistic in view of what you can offer, what the state of the job market is like, what the opportunities are available are like as well. And you may also want to think about looking at what you can do to improve your chances. So that might be extra training to fill any gaps, for example. And again, making use of those relevant contacts and networks to identify those potential roles. Then you get onto the taking action bit. So this is where actually do something, and you put all of that great exploratory stuff, researching everything, into action. So this is where you've identified your options, you've narrowed them down, and it's identifying those appropriate approaches, paths, routes, and making sure that you're preparing to market yourself effectively via those applications, CVs, interviews, etc. And this is where your plan will come in. So identifying those goals, so you know yourself, you've got your bit where you know where you are at this point in time, and then you've got the ultimate goal as to where you want to be in terms of your career, and then you want to start thinking about those goals and how you're going to move from where you are now to where it is you want to be. And absolutely, this strategy should be reviewed regularly, and you can absolutely adjust those plans as necessary. As I said, none of this is set in stone. Now, career plans can look very different from person to person in the way that they set them out. There are examples on the careers portal, but you can also Google career plan outlines and you get an awful lot coming up. So choose something that works for you and how you like to work and how you like to set out information. But this is a guide that the information you should really be including within a career plan in some way. First of all, personal overview. So this is all the great work you did before. So it's a brief outline of who you are and what you're looking for. Make sure you're including your strongest attributes and interests as well as where you're at your current situation. So thinking about what it is that sets you apart from everybody else. What is your value add? What is your USP? Then including some information that you'll need for applications and assessments, for example. So education, so having an overview of your qualifications, then have a brief overview or short summary of your employment history. Then you want to be thinking about your current skills, knowledge and experience, and that will be your key competencies and skills, whether they're gained from work, study or hobbies, because no matter where they come from, what is important is that you have and can demonstrate that skill that that employer is looking for. And then you'll want to include something around training and development requirements. So what skills gaps are there? Make a note of the types of resources you could access. For example, you get free access to LinkedIn Learning through the online careers portal. So that's a hugely beneficial tool to use. Then you've got your action plan. So this is where your goals come into play. So step-by-step actions needed to reach your goals. So your goals are going to be your short, your medium and your long term. So short term could be securing a job with progression opportunities within 6 months. Mid-term could be getting a promotion within 2 to 5 years. Long term could be head of department in 5+ years. You then need to set those goals and the step-by-step actions needed to reach each of those goals, making sure that you're including timelines. Now, you can have as many actions as you want, but I would say it's probably more useful to limit yourself to a smaller number. That way you're not going to get overwhelmed. It's going to be more realistic because you can absolutely add new ones as you go through. So why have I talked about goal setting and why is goal setting so important when we're thinking about career planning? I think one of the reasons is they're motivational, especially if they comply with being SMART goals, which I'll talk about in a moment. It means that you will be more likely to achieve them if you have sensible, achievable goals. Also helps you break down what it is you need to do. You can identify what you need to look at. You can identify, what might be the potential distractors and keep those out of the way. And you can absolutely take pride in achieving those goals. For me, I like to tick things off. So I get a great sense of achievement when I've met a target or I've met a goal. And that can help build up that confidence and that kind of wanting to go forward and complete what it is that you're looking to do. So I talked about SMART goals just then. So goals that are not particularly well defined, a bit wishy-washy, are probably not going to be overly successful because you're not really sure what you need to achieve. You haven't really set a timeline for it. So you think, I'll leave it and I'll do it the next day. SMART goals are there to help keep you on track. Now, there are lots of variants, but SMART typically stands for S for specific. So identify a clear outcome that you want to achieve. M for measurable. So how are you going to know when you've done it? What's going to be that outcome? Achievable. Is it feasible within your time frame? And are you motivated to complete it? Because if you're not, you're probably not going to succeed. Is it realistic? So is it relevant to your career aims? And then finally, T, time bound. When are you going to be completing it by? So this is an example of one, just to put it into context. So the broad aim is to be promoted to team leader within the next 2 to 3 years. So a smart goal towards that aim is I will discuss my career aim with my manager by 30th of April to establish the feasibility of my plans and identify and agree a set of personal and professional targets by 31st of May to enable my career progression. So as you can see, it's time bound. There are dates set for when it needs to be achieved by. You've got your outcome. You'll know when you've achieved it because you'll have that set of personal and professional targets, and you'll know that you'll have met with your manager. It's also feasible within that time scale, and it's nothing too challenging as well. So it's something that's going to be realistically achievable. So that is it for career planning. We do run live workshops on career planning that goes into a lot more depth around future proofing and planning and managing your career. So look out for those on the events page. Also keep updated with us on our social channels. We post an awful lot of content out there. If you have any questions, get in touch at employability@bbk.ac.uk, and also make sure that you're utilising all of the resources that are available on the careers portal. There's lots around career planning and, as I said, LinkedIn Learning, all of the careers assessments and much, much more. Thank you very much for listening.